In today's video, I am bringing together all of my favorite approaches to barbecue. Seasoned like a brisket, smoked like a pork shoulder, served on a bun with a super tasty sauce. Let's make some smoked pulled lamb shoulder barbecue sandwiches served with a homemade Taziki. Yum yum, gimme some. Here we go. To begin these festivities, we have to first make a dry rub. Go in 2 parts black pepper, this is 16 mesh black pepper, 1 part kosher salt, this is diamond crystal kosher salt, 1/4 part granulated garlic, and 1/4 part crushed rosemary. You can use a ground rosemary if you want to. Give it a good old mix. Set it to the side. So what you have here is a 5.5 pound boneless lamb roast. We're going to go ahead and clean this up. There's some random stuff just hanging on. Anything thin like this is just going to burn when you cook. So I am a garlic fanatic. My plan is to make little indentations in here, little slivers with the knife. And we're going to take 8 garlic cloves and we're going to stuff it down in here. And as we smoke this, the garlic is going to soften, and then I'm going to let it just incorporate into the meat when I shred this up. And since this is boneless, I'm going to wrap it with some butcher's twine to help the structural integrity. Because the last thing I want this to do is to fall apart midway through the smoking process. Snip off the excess. Now it's time to season. Since we are going for a very dark bark, kind of like you would see on a brisket in Texas, here's what I have learned. The more pepper you apply, the darker the finished product is going to be. Remember, when you're seasoning your meat, always start with your non-presentation side first, so that way you're not messing up all the pretty parts. And just to kick things up a notch, just to make the rub stick, we are going to use some sprayable beef tallow. It's going to be good. This may look like a lot of salt. Don't worry, it can take it. We are going for that super dark crust. Got it on a wire rack. It's going to hang out in the refrigerator overnight. That's going to essentially dry brine this piece of meat, and then it will go on the smoker tomorrow. So here we are about 15 hours later. You can see that the meat has gotten a little more ruby red here. That is because the salt drew out the moisture and then reabsorbed it back into the meat. Now, on to step 2. Step 2, we are going to re-season the meat. So I have a tray here. I have the leftover dry rub. We're going to pour it out. Take the meat and just going to roll it around. I picked this up from a pitmaster in Texas. It's how he does all of his briskets. And I thought that seems like a really good idea. So this will be the first time I'm trying it out. We'll see how it goes. So properly seasoned, I'm going to let this hang out on the counter for about 20 to 30 minutes just to come up to room temperature. And then we're going to head out to the pit. As you can hear from all the noise, I'm out in the jungles of Middle Tennessee. We're going to go ahead and get this on the pit. So the plan is to run this pit for an hour and a half to 2 hours in the 210 to 220 range, and then ramp the temp up from there until we get an internal temp of 200 degrees-ish, 200, 205 degrees on the meat. We are 6 hours in. You can see it's gotten much darker around the top here. So let's go ahead and check this temp. All right, we're in the mid 160s right there. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put this in a pan with some onion and some beef stock, and I'm going to wrap it up and let it finish cooking. That is looking so good. I've got some homemade beef stock here. Obviously, if you don't want to go through the hassle of making beef stock, it's completely up to you. You can use store-bought. I will tell you this one little tip. Always heat up your beef stock. You don't want to pour room temperature or cold beef stock in this. It'll just slow down the cooking process. Don't pour it over the top of this. We worked really hard on building that crust up. We don't want to soften it up unnecessarily. Gonna take some tin foil, wrap this sucker up tight. We're gonna let this ride till we hit 200, 205 degrees. The weather here is starting to get a little angry, so at this point, once you've wrapped it up, you don't have to continue cooking it on the cooker. You can take it in, throw it in your oven at 250, 275 degrees and let it finish that way, which is what I might end up doing. But we're gonna let it ride and I'll check back with you. So let's see, we're just going for probe tender, like a knife through butter, like a hot knife through butter. 207 degrees. So there we go. But you can see how dark it got from all that pepper. That pepper's doing its job. So if you're serving this day of, you want to let it rest for at least an hour. You want it to come down in temperature to about 150 degrees before you rip into it. If you want to give it a slightly longer rest, you can take this, wrap in tin foil, stick it in a cooler with some towels to keep it warm. I am going to rest it in my toaster oven for several hours, maybe even overnight. And that's just going to help things get even happier. To top our sandwich, we are going to make a fresh-made Taziki. For the Taziki, you're going to need half of an English cucumber. You're going to need garlic. You're going to need some lemon juice. You're going to need some dill, a few tablespoons of olive oil, and some whole-fat Greek yogurt. Next, you're going to grate the cucumber. Transfer into a mixing bowl. You're going to salt your cucumber. This is going to help draw out some moisture. You need this cucumber to be as dry as you can. Next, you're going to grate up 3 cloves of garlic. Going to take your cucumber and you're going to wring it out like a rag. Dry cucumber. You'll take 2 cups of your whole fat yogurt. You don't have to use whole fat yogurt, but I mean, honestly, why would you want to use anything else when making this? Going to add in some dill. This is to your liking. Approximately 3 tablespoons of olive oil. Your garlic, the juice of half a lemon, and salt and pepper to your liking. And whisk together. Give it a taste. And adjust to your desired seasoning level. After an overnight rest in the toaster oven at 150 degrees, let's see what we got. Let's snip off this twine. Oh, it is crumbling apart already. Can't waste this. You can see how dark the bark is. That's from all the pepper that we used. So let's see, we'll start breaking into this. Oh man. Look at that. This smells awesome. All right, that nice long rest really helped this. So I poured off some of the liquid a little while ago. This is a fat separator. So we're gonna add some of this back into it. All right, I'm gonna throw in just a little bit more salt and just a little bit more garlic. Because in my world, you can't have too much garlic. Lightly toasted bun going down. Gonna put some tzatziki on the bottom and the top. Mound of meat. And just for fun, we're gonna put on some of these onions from the braise. There we are. Here is the finished product. Sorry, messy. Wow. Oh man. So obviously you're getting the smoke. The garlic's coming through pretty heavy too with all those garlic cloves we stuffed in here. Of course, I left those in there and they just kind of disintegrated and kind of became part of the roast. But what's really kicking is the onions from the braise. There's a heavy pepper kick from those. So I like that. And the tzatziki's setting it off. It's brightening things up. Woo, yum. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, consider giving me a like, a subscribe, drop me a comment. And as always, get up, go out, cook some good food. Be a little bit better tomorrow than you were today. And I will catch you next time.